FaBled Hunter's Fire Drill, let's go!
We got a generous gift.
Yes, we appreciate Legendary Games distribution.
There's some Japanese exclusive cards that we're trying to hit.
Yep.
And we're definitely going to start, I think, with this case.
That's the case.
A little...
Let's go, 12 packs of goodness.
Yeah, who's going to win?
The box.
All right, so we got the box ready.
Yep, let's go.
Let's see.
Nope.
No gold
womp,
pack.
womp, womp. All right, gonna pop off 4 at a time. There you go, lightning round. Do 4 and we'll switch. All right. Welcome to FaBled Hunters.
I'm Yuanji.
I'm Saint.
And today we're going to be talking about some stuff.
That's right. Yuanji, do you remember, like many years back, we had an episode called Collectible Winter or FaB Winter?
Mm-hmm.
So we haven't talked prior about the specifics, but what do you remember about that time? Because I see the video, we filmed in November, but it was literally like the winter solstice or something, like December of, it was a week before winter solstice. It was December 13th of 2021.
Well, I remember that it was, at the time, we had just gone through a really crazy period in Flesh and Blood. So after, I guess, like your public acquisition, after kind of Flesh and Blood started blowing up in the collectible space, then there was all that craziness with Monarch going really high, Tales of Aria also at the same time when it came out.
Oh yeah,
people were really high on the
for a while, like $250, $300 a box for a little bit. Even Tales of Aria, forget about Monarch. Monarch was up to like 800, yes, 6, 7, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and then Tales of Aria first edition when it came out was like really expensive. I remember the cold foils. I think like cold foil core gem sold for like over like $3,000-$4,000.
Yep.
At the world premiere. So I think this is like a little bit after that, and then there was kind of like a whole debacle with parties that will,
Channel Fireball. They're done.
I guess
anyway.
they will be named. Just like kind of fire selling everything, kind of sparking a catalyst in a downturn, I guess, in confidence, I would say.
Yeah, collector confidence.
Yeah.
Yep. But this happened shortly after that, right?
Yeah.
And it was called, we coined it FaB Winter. And I mean, your perspective is not wrong. My perspective on the matter was I was getting pinged by 40 to 50 people literally every single week, trying to liquidate stuff. They're like, oh, buy this Heart of Findal for me. It's like some said 30, 35, 40, some even said $50,000.
Low price.
Yeah, it's a low price. Get it, buy it from me.
$29.99.
Yeah, $99, exactly. Especially because it's gonna go up. It's gonna go up to $100,000 because I saw some other YouTube content creator, and I'm just like, dude, you're wasting my time. What the hell's wrong with you? Just because you watched, some dumbass who's probably the ideal demographic for Bud Light at the time, like just because you watched some asshole from West Virginia tell you that all these cards are going up, like you're going to cite those data points. And by the way, that asshole's partner, shout out to Compete Sport. Let's get the listing up there. They're currently temporarily closed, aka out of business from what I heard. So yeah, that shows you how much they know, because they were telling us, they were telling the whole community, Flesh and Blood to the moon, right before exiting stage left and going into MetaZoo. We'll not get into that. So Flesh and Blood Winter at this time, there are 30 to 50 parties just reaching out to me, telling me that they knew everything about this game, they knew everything about finance, they knew what the prices were, but they were gonna sell it to me for the low price of whatever, 15% off the peak of the market. And I was just getting annoyed, and this also reminded me of...
I remember also, sorry to interject, I think there was kind of like a disconnect between pricing and volume. So, you get this sometimes even in financial markets where there's like a high cap price, but like really low volume of transactions, right?
Yes. There's few transactions actually transacted. There was, my friend said, or I heard in a Discord that this is what the price should be.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, you fucking piece of shit. When was the last time you actually transacted or spent $30,000 on a trading card? And I have to have this conversation. Like, I had to tell literally 40 out of 50 people to go fuck themselves because they came at me so entitled, like, hey, I'm giving you a deal, you have to buy from me. And I'm just like, no, fuck yourself. I didn't invite you to solicit me. You're actively wasting my time.
Yeah.
And as a result, after telling 80% of the people to go fuck themselves, the other 20% like came back a second and third time and tried to give me data points and rationale why it would be foolish of me not to buy from them. I eventually had to put them in their place and be like, yo,
I feel like that's like, I don't know if is that like a good sales tactic where you're trying to convince the customer that they're wrong?
Well, that was their sales tactic.
Yeah.
They were so entitled that they literally believed that they had unfettered access to my wallet and or checking account.
Yeah.
And that because I advertised that I was a lover of flesh and blood, that I needed to buy from them. I needed to listen to them. It was my fiduciary duty to part them from their cards and part with my own money.
Yeah.
So long story short, that's the actual impetus behind us releasing the video called FaB Winter or Collectible Winter. To go back to take a step back to the beginning of Flesh and Blood.
Yeah.
I had seen, or the beginning of the big surge in the US of Flesh and Blood. Obviously everybody knows, everybody who's watched religiously, and that's a couple hundred people I'd say, FaBled Hunter since the beginning, know that I made that huge acquisition from Channel Fireball of 100 cases of Welcome to Wraith, and shortly after, Rudy picked me up for a interview, and then he released the New York Investor. Oh, that's the World Financial Center or whatever, Freedom Tower in the background, right? So this is New York, guilty as charged. New York Investor paid over $300,000 or bought over $300,000 of Flesh and Blood product. However, shortly after that, many parties in Magic the Gathering said, yo, you made a great move, you made a great investment. And I was ungreedy. I wanted to, share the wealth. And I actually split, at the time, certain cases with people that I felt were very near and dear to me in my collectibles journey.
Yeah.
As well as people who were actually very, very heavy into Magic the Gathering, about, let's call it 15 to 20 parties. And I shared with them at under market, well under market, these, rare WTR cases. It is unfortunate that the majority of them didn't make it past the FaB Winter, but I did call them. I called them. I called even Rudy the Magic guy, and I said, FaB Winter, it's what it's looking like. This is the only solution, because it literally reminded me of the 2008-2009 Great Recession, because there were reports and news articles and financial articles that hairdressers and literally exotic dancers, pole dancers, were buying 5 and 6 properties on mortgage and flipping them and becoming, real estate gurus.
I mean, nowadays it might make some more sense. They make a lot of money.
Sorry, what?
On only. I don't know if I want to say this.
Oh yes, you're welcome to on the content channel that has fans, a lot of fans.
Yeah, OF.
OF.
Yeah, you make a lot of money. So it's more plausible now than it was back then.
Yeah. Hey, look, it's now more systematic and more online and streamlined to the Web 3.0 era, the AI era, right?
Yeah.
Now that they've got the OF channel, that those OF talents, they can go invest in 7 or 8 or 10 properties if they want. But even back then, literal hairdressers or pole dancers from podunk towns were giving stock tips and talking about how many properties they had. And I was like, Rudy, look, I cited the pole dancers, I cited 2008, 2009, Rudy was there. I went through it and I was like, no, this is unsustainable for FaB. We need to, pour some cold water on it. I don't want to say that we manipulated the market, but we were actually trying to reverse the market manipulation.
Well, there's like a bubble. There's for sure a bubble.
Yes, there's for sure a bubble, and we saw the bubble, and that's why I said, hey, look, there's going to be a flesh and blood winter. There's going to be a whole collectibles winter, but there needs to be a FaB Winter. And Rudy himself even said FaB Winter, and I called the 20 or so people that I shared these Welcome to Wraith assets with. I said, hey guys, we got a lockdown. Let's stop buying, because there's no point in buying, because there's soon to be, if you haven't received any of those calls, maybe some of these people received 3 to 5 of those private messages. I received 50 a week, and I was like, no, just no. There's no reason to. It's gonna just go down. It's gonna drop ridiculously. And I think this preceded Magic 30 as well. Magic 30 was Q1 of 2022, right?
I think news of Magic 30 came out like around Thanksgiving.
Okay, so after we recorded, around that time. So this was even before Magic 30, and I was like, Flesh and Blood's gonna drop. There's no reason to sustain it, because people are like, oh, a lot of people are selling. Should we deploy another X dollars into it? And I said, absolutely not. And again, it's not market manipulation, nor is it intentional reverse market manipulation. It was just a heads up, because this crazy, irrational, exuberant behavior that happened right before the Great Recession was happening again, where people that had no business to be in trading cards were trying to tell me the value of Findel Spring Tunic, or tell me try to educate me on the population of a Heart of Findel, and there's literally people with like, oh, I have a 9.5 scab skin leathers, because I read in some Discord that 9.5 BGS scab skin leathers has a 2.5x premium. You need to pay me $3,000 or $3,500 for it. I'm like, no, I don't. And I actually founded and run the grading group for Flesh and Blood. Why are you trying to educate me on stuff you don't even know about? I know more about it than you do, right?
Yeah.
So, it was literally the people that were so entitled and self-righteous that we needed a way to corral them out of the market. And I believe Flesh and Blood Winter, FaB Winter, was the correct strategy. That said, I think they're out now. Most of them are out. I very, very rarely interact with people like that. I don't want to make this episode about this specific jackoff, but like, for example, Alex Sneed, he tried to sell like whatever, $300 market rainbow foil common set of Arcane Rising First for like $2,000, and then he came to me, he's like, I'll give it to you for the low price of $1,500. Now, you could still buy it for the great low, awesome insider deal price of $1,500 with, one person that likes it on eBay. We'll put up the listing. Give Alex Sneed a little, optimization. Newsflash, I bought them for $350 to $400 back,
I'm friends with Alex, so I'm biased.
Okay, you're biased, but he's been trying to sell that set forever.
Yeah, I think what I will say is this. I think a lot of people who kind of got into collectibles around the same time, in that like 2019, 2020 era, I think that the easy comparison was that I think basically everybody thought that trading cards would be similar to like Bitcoin or like stocks, like cryptocurrency.
It declined the same way as cryptocurrency did.
Yeah, but I think there are like unique differences between these different like types of things. Because cryptocurrency, one, like the total like volume of transactions is much greater, at least for the highly popular coins. And there's whole like trading platforms and stuff that's dedicated in order to like facilitate this like liquidity. And you have like people who are like doing like you are aware there's like in any like financial market. Yeah. At least there's like people who. There's like the traders like provide like a lot of liquidity, but like trading card games, there's no like, there are, but not like for high end. There's no like people who are just like
myself and formerly 20 to 25 individuals within the market throughout much of 2020 late 2020 and much of 2021 we were literally liquidity providers for the market.
Yeah, well, you're providing liquidity, but there's no options market.
Yeah, there's no systematic.
Yeah, systematic
source of liquidity.
Yeah, so I think when everybody points out, I think this is actually a really common problem, not just to people who got into card games in 2020, but I think in general, everybody even people who have been trading card game OGs who have been in the game since the early 2000s or whatever. A lot of people get into stuck in the mindset that cards are like stocks. The price of my card on the market went up 50%. That means I made 50% money. And it's no, you haven't.
No, you haven't.
You have to make the sale.
You should try to actually sell it and have the money in your hand and see how difficult it is to actually capture that money. Right?
Yeah, and so there's a lot of different
and there's a lot of reality shock to the parties that have that, so they think $50,000 Heart of Findal.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, I'll give it to you for 40. I'll give it to you for 30. I'll give it to you for 10. Oh shit, it's not even worth 10? I paid 25 for it thinking that I'd sell it for 100. And then they have to come to realize when all the people that can actually afford it and had any business holding that asset in the first place are out, then you're stuck holding your dick until Heart of Findal drops to $7,000. And then people like me will be like, well, considering from the peak, that's like a, 6-for-1 deal, 6 for the price of 1, or 7 for the price of 1, right?
That's a good deal.
That's a good deal. Then, I'll tell everybody, if it's a mint graded 9.5 Heart of Findal, I'll give you $7,000 for that all the live long day. I'll leave it open until 90 days after the release of this video.
Yeah.
I'd gladly acquire there, but I sure as hell wasn't honoring the 20 or 30 parties that had a heart or a tunic or a shard or an eye in cold foil and telling me what price they deserved for it at the time.
Yeah. So I think basically, no matter how you slice it, this is a period in time where there's a disconnect between, I think, the realities of how high-end collectibles the market actually behaves, where it's a low volume market, and then it's also not a very consistently, I think, transacting market.
Yep.
And then you have a lot of people come into the game expecting that, and then there's a disconnect between the expectations and the realities of the situation.
Absolutely. And I mean, contrast to calling it a FaB Winter, there was literally a pump and dump group of investors that invested in Magic 30, trying to pump it to $2,500 for whatever, originally $1,000, with tax $1,150 or $1,200 box of Magic 30 with 4 packs of literal 2022 reprinted cards that aren't tournament legal, and they got away with it for a little while. I don't know or really care what Magic 30 cards are at, but we'll probably list it up there. I'm pretty sure it's not $2,500, but the market was manipulated to push that number over $1,500 so that these people who hoarded the Magic 30 packs could make money. And I saw that it was ridiculous. I saw that content creators in bad faith try to push up and prop up the value of assets during that time. So I literally had to make a called people like Open Boosters, called people like Rudy, again, called 20, maybe even 25 of the top collectors in the world of Flesh and Blood at the time, and said, full stop, no, you guys have to stop spending. This is not good for the longevity of the game. Because, to be fair, do you remember what WTR boxes, individual WTR alpha boxes were at the peak?
Yeah, I think WTR boxes hit, I want to say, $8,000.
Oh, that's exactly, not solicited, we didn't communicate before. It was 8, and cases, due to having a case premium, were $35,000 to $40,000. So it was ridiculous, and people, bad faith people were coming in here loading, buying and selling to each other on top of one another. The meme, or the stereotypical tulip mania. type of characters.
Yeah.
The knuckleheads that Rudy always talks about on his videos. And again, at the time, you know, maybe the 20 to 25 parties, they specifically were like, well, if you're doing this, please don't make content about it. I don't want you betraying my position. So you're telling us you're keeping it secret, you're keeping it under wraps, and we just have a cold, like we're putting ice on the entire market, secondary market at the time. Because, you know, I will say that I was probably the most active party in the market during that decline. And throughout 2022, all the way to the end of 2022, there were even times where the market got really ugly. If people really knew, you know, I don't want to talk about in 22 or 23. Now that we're in, you know, a new peak of popularity, I can more comfortably talk about it. There was so much supply, such a supply glut of Welcome to Wraith, Arcane Rising, and Crucible of War First Edition and Alphas that, you know, the market might have collapsed if there was not a good amount of liquidity, probably 7 figures of liquidity infused into the market to carry the market through the worst depths of FaB Winter, all the way to Worlds, you know, San Jose at the end of 2022. You know, I think that most of the people today, because the community has grown, I would say easily 5 times since our first FaBled Hunters video.
Yeah.
Probably easily. Most people don't know that part of history, but we're revisiting history and explaining what happened in Flesh and Blood Winter. I will confidently say that Flesh and Blood Winter has probably ended. We even had like a resurgence in Pro Tour 3 in Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore.
About May of 2023.
Yeah.
And then some things, and you know, the secondary market got bad, the economy got bad, and we probably hit another trough towards Q4, or call it November of 2023. But now, 7-8 months later, I'm looking at the market and it hasn't gotten worse. Now, has it gotten much better? Absolutely not. There's no growth. I'm not saying there is growth. I'm not saying go buy anything right now, but I can confidently say that the worst is over. And if there are parties like me that want to, you know, get our pickings out of the debris, and you miss some stuff, like you never got your heart, you never got your cold foil tunic, you never got your cold foil, whatever, the, you know, class specific legendaries, or even the small cold foils like a Snapdragon Scalers here and there. Now is probably going to be the best time in the upcoming 5 to 10 years for you to make those pickups. I literally just made a purchase. We verbally shook on it. We discussed it. It's getting delivered in the next 30 days of, you know, nearly $100,000 market worth of FaB stuff. Whereas if I discussed that transaction prior to our release of FaB Winter, it probably cost me $350,000, but it obviously didn't today. And I'm looking at what's available, and I'm very comfortable in saying, unless it's an emergency situation or unless it's an outright exit, like, oh, it's time, I've waited long enough, it's time to leave. Most of the parties that have been greedy, greedy thinking they're gonna clutch their pearls and hold on to them and hope that they could, you know, sell this pearl necklace for like 5x of what they bought it for. Yeah, sorry guys, those guys are gone. Instead of a physical pearl necklace, they actually got pearl necklace up in their face and they got fucked on their investment, which I'm very, very happy for, because I've said it from day one, I'll say it again. My purchase of, 150 to, well, close to $200, 200 boxes, not dollars, 200 boxes of Flesh and Blood early on was purely for opening and enjoyment. My follow-up purchase, that Channel Fireball deal wasn't my first purchase. My follow-up purchase of whatever, 400 cases, 400 boxes of Welcome to Wraith, again, $500 to $700. That was, people are like, oh, that's a great investment decision. And I'm looking at people like, that wasn't an investment. I bought that to consume. right? Like, it's kind of like, oh, I know that this really awesome release of Macallan, you know, the Scotch whiskey, is delicious. Oh, these are only $400 bottles of Macallan. And then when everybody else likes them, they go to $2,000 a bottle. It's like, oh man, you were really smart. And I'm like, I just wanted to buy stuff to drink and enjoy. And it's kind of like that. But I mean, that's also fair. That also needs to be the essence. I feel like a college professor, like lecturing right now, but it needs to be the essence of enjoying a trading card game, right? If you're going to make a purchase for profit, then this is not the place for that. Go seek a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Go buy a bond. Go set up an annuity, right? Go buy some ETF that will go up, right? Right now, especially now, after the fallout of FaB Winter, after the fallout of that big post-COVID drop, this is probably the worst time in the past 20 years to be speculating on trading card games. This right now is the worst time if you're only in it for speculation and gain, right? I think this you had mentioned before. You said that there's so many games that had 3-4 years ago, even in the last 2 years, gave you opportunities to make a gain. But right now in 2024,
we were talking on the way to lunch, and it's basically like, I think when you look at the landscape as a whole, and I think Rudy even did a video on this, where he's like, other than Pokemon, like you can't buy a booster box, sit on it, and then it goes up like, I don't know, 5-10% every year.
That doesn't exist.
It doesn't really happen. And I think it's more so kind of like an indication of kind of like the environment that we're in terms of how like these trading card companies are doing their printing strategies, and in terms of how the people are consuming the products. That's just like the realities of it. It's just the game is different now for like a lot of
the whole environment of trading card games are different, except I have to interject and say, this is what's normal. What happened in 2019, 20, and part of probably the first half of 2021, that was not normal. People that are on Discord, people that are newer to the flesh and blood environment, newer to the community, complaining, oh, the collectors are gone. There's no way to make money off of flesh and blood. Fuck you. I don't owe you, a gain on your cards. I don't need to go out there and buy up every box of heavy hitters or outsiders or, Bud Light and make these cards go up for your benefit.
It's funny, I was like thinking about, when you were like talking about FaB Winter, I'm just imagining, it's like everybody who's kind of in flesh and blood to act as like a middleman essentially, between like trying to like do these deals. They're kind of like, they're like a little fish that's like attaching themselves to like the underbelly of like
parasites. Like little pilot fish to sharks, right? Or like barnacles on whales. It's like you served no purpose. And if you were in the market from 2021, I know there's going to be hopefully there's going to be some jack off in the comment section saying, no, you're wrong, I made a profit. Good for you. You were the exception, not the rule. Everybody else who got froze out after December of 2021, you got fucked and you got served for trying to exploit this game. Come in here, listen to, some dumbass double-digit IQ content creators' advice, and try to make a living off of other people's passion. If you're like me and you actually enjoyed other trading card games in the past, like Magic the Gathering, you would have seen from personal experience, people actually enjoy the game. People actually enjoy, everything from revised, even unlimited, alpha, beta, legends, dark, right? Dark didn't start out as a $4,000 box. Didn't peak out at $8,000. The dark was complete bullshit, but some people like the art. Some people like the interactivity. Some people like, no pun intended, the dark themes, right? And they collected the cards and they said, wow, this is really good. And the dark was bullshit for about 5 years. I think people, Magic came out with sets like Mirage, Visions, Weatherlight, Exodus, Stronghold, blah, 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 blah. and it just power crept way past the dark.
Yeah.
It took like real connoisseurs, real people, real enthusiasts of Magic the Gathering that held these boxes of the dark that, like, some of them were presumably destroyed or fire sold, but some of these boxes of the dark made it through, since 1994, made it through 25 to 30 years, and then people really, got nostalgic, and that's what happened, and that's what caused that spike of the dark to go to $8,000 a box. It wasn't, $70 to $1,000 to $3,000 to $8,000. It was more like $70 for 10 years. Sometimes maybe even down to like 45 because nobody gave a shit, right? Then 200, then like 3 or 5 years later, then 500, then 1,000, then 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, and then it went to like 8,000 immediately.
Yeah.
And to be fair, just like there was that spike in Magic the Gathering where assets like the Dark went up to 8,000, now they sit at, I don't know, call it 2,000 to 4,000, right? Things like this with Flesh and Blood happened as well. The people that were truly rewarded and actually deserved the payoff were the people in Australia and New Zealand and even some other parts of Asia Pacific that believed in Flesh and Blood as early as when Flesh and Blood Welcome to Wraith Alpha was $80 a box, right? I don't think I deserve a return. I paid what was market for it at the time, and I don't care that the boxes are $2,000. I've paid up to even $4,000 or $5,000 for loose boxes in the past just to consume and enjoy them because that was the market price at the time, and that was great. I have the remainder of my stash waiting to consume and enjoy and continue opening on future episodes once I'm done with this relocation.
One of these days
we're gonna pull a heart on camera.
Yeah, one of these days.
Right? And that is the purpose of actually collecting and enjoying TCGs. And I would go as far, even further, and say, and agree with you, Yuanji, you made that statement. Can you make it a bit again about the collector and investor, collector and player divisiveness by community members? I would argue those are jackoffs that are from other trading card games trying to, freeze out and talk shit and talk down Flesh and Blood as a game.
Yeah, I mean, it's you see it in every game. Every time that there's like some amount of, stratification of what people like to do for the majority of the time, whether it's in Flesh and Blood, you have the people who like to collect, you have the people who like to play, you have the people who like to play casually. Yeah. You have in Magic, you have commander players, you have people who like to play tournaments, whatever. To believe that anybody is like 100% collector or 100% player, like what does like a 100% player look like? I own 0 cards and I just go to tournaments and people lend me the cards, I play them and I give them back. Like that's like the 100% player.
And those are so few and far between.
Yeah, like they exist. There's maybe a handful of them. I would say less than 5, like 5 to 10.
And I would
individuals.
say, I agree with you. And there's thousands of people showing up. Just like on the flip side, maybe there's more than 5 to 10 pure collectors still remaining
who like have never
played a single game of FaB, right? I'm not one of them. I played, I would say competently. I'm giving myself a pat on the back in Queenstown. I literally took out I was told by the Runaways. Yeah. Shout out to the Runaways. Let's go Runaways. I took out a Magic the Gathering Pro Tour winner in Japan. Yeah. Something Nakamura. We could get the Shohei Nakamura, right? He's a Magic the Gathering Hall of Famer. Yeah. Murked his ass. And I took out CYK Lionel, but I gave you the win. Fucking Lionel, you owe me, man. But that said, like, sure, I might be a 90-10 collector to player, maybe even 95-5, but I'm not truly purely one, purely only one, 100% of one. And I think somewhere between you, where you're probably 95-5 player collector, and I'm 95-5 the other way, collector player, there's that whole spectrum, and there's this divisive narrative making people think.
Yeah, people like, I think it was like Snappy Kitchen, he's like a 100-100.
Yeah?
He's like 100% collector, 100% player.
No, but that just makes him 50-50, right?
Yeah, but
it's the same ratio.
Yeah, he takes it to like, and what I'm saying is
he's like, just extreme on both, right?
Yeah.
No, but that's good, and that's a great example.
Yeah.
Just like one of the craziest collectors out, and I've got nothing but love for this guy. foil degen. I know his name is June because I know him
Oh, no, that's
in
what I'm
person.
talking about. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I thought he was Snapping Kitchen. Maybe that's someone else.
Snapping Kitchen is a store owner from APAC.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he's the
thinking about
one,
Foil DJ.
Snapping Kitchen's the one that always shows off his 9.5 Findal Spring Tunic Gold Foil.
Yeah.
And he thinks that makes him like the bee's knees in Asia. Yeah. It's like, motherfucker, they're people on top of people. Let's just leave it at that.
I was thinking about June.
Yeah, June, he plays hard. He is an MF. He goes hard at every single event. It's like,
He was passing to me at the Heavy Hitters Pro Tour.
Oh yeah. He was there for Heavy Hitters, which was what? Last one in Los Angeles?
Yeah,
Pro Tour LA. I saw him at Queenstown. I think did we see him in Japan? Tokyo Misfell? I think he was there too, right? Yeah, I think we saw him in Tokyo Misfell premiere, and I wouldn't be surprised if I see his ass in Tampa. Go open something with this guy. So yeah, and he has a day job. He's rather successful of a personality. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
And has millions of followers, but this guy does that, and he opens like 20 gold foils at once, right? So that's a perfect example. That's a perfect blend of player and collector. You can be both. I would be much more of a player if I could, but I've got other stuff. I can barely find time for FaBled Hunter's recording.
Yeah.
That said, just to round things out, I think FaB Winter was necessary. $8,000 per box of Welcome to Wraith was too much irrational exuberance. It was too crazy, and somebody had to be the adult in the room and remind the other adults what the heck was going on. And years later, I'll say that of the 20 to 25 of the top collectors, it's not zero. I'm here. There's probably 20% of us left, but we're quiet. We're dormant. We're picking stuff up. There's plenty around as of 6 months ago. Trust me when I say there's much less of it around now, right? If you can look at the data, you can look at the market data. There was transactions for Findals or Heart of Findals back 6 months ago or maybe a year to 6 months to a year ago for that 11, 10, 9, $8,000 range. But even now, when you go offer $7,000, they're not around. There's not many $7,000 hearts for you to buy. Trust me, I've tried in the private market. I've gone to these events. But again, if you have a 9.5 PCG or BGS Heart of Findal, $7,000, call us, FabledHunters@gmail, or email us, FabledHunters@gmail.com. That said, there was only 400 of the thing to begin with.
Yeah.
And maybe only 320 or 300 have been opened. So there's not very many left. We've got a very loyal flesh and blood FaB fam on our Patreon that have all aspired, and most of them have succeeded, to collect at least one Cold Foil Heart of Findal. Congrats to you guys, and thanks for your support. And then the rest is distributed all around the world. And again, when there's only less than 1,000 of an asset, and you've got a game that's growing from, call it 1,000 active players to 10,000 to 100,000, and now I would say it's 500,000 plus, at least that's what I'm hearing, then the amount of assets, that pool of assets, doesn't change. And hey, again, none of this is encouraging you to buy. I'm just saying that if you really like the game, this is probably the final time where any of it is available.
But don't buy it to sell it to somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be an asshole, because if the market gets hyperinflated again, we could just have another evil investor meeting like we did in Pro Tour LA, and then we can lock your little ass out because you're insignificant, and you buying out whatever 20 copies of Warmonger's Diplomacy, or even 20 copies of Rainbow Foil Tunic, or Rainbow Foil Hearts. That's not going to change a thing. There are people that are smarter than you, have deeper pockets than you, have heavier positions than you, and have much more influence in the market than you do. So don't try to be a wise ass. Hopefully that was helpful. You want to close with anything, Yuanji?
Yeah, I think in general, the biggest message of this video is just reminding all the viewers that at the heart of it, we're playing and collecting a trading card game.
Yes.
And
it's a trading card game. And it doesn't need to guarantee any value to anybody at all.
Yeah, and then when you think about kind of like the mechanics of how these game pieces actually go up and down and how they appreciate, it's like familiarize yourself with the game, because that is like the core of it all. And hopefully you grow to love the game and you grow to appreciate the game, and you want to build up a collection of game pieces for yourself, because they mean a lot and they're valuable in the context of the game.
Yeah, they're valuable to you in the context of the game. And as you collect and you accumulate, if there is one day that you change your mind, don't come calling me telling me that you're entitled to like 100% of market, but well, you'll give it to me for a deal at 90% of market, because that shit ain't happening. It's not 2020 anymore. So that said, hope you guys learned something. Hope some of this was meaningful. Talk all the shit you want in the comments. If you've watched for 40 minutes already, then I don't know how much shit you can talk, because we got you. You've been had for 40 minutes. But thanks again to the FaB fam that encourages us to make this content. Thank you for your subscriptions on our Patreon. We'll go in depth and talk about stuff, the market behind the market. And otherwise, just remember to like, comment, subscribe, twiddle that notification button, and we'll see you next time. Bye. All right, we're doing 4 each.
Four at a time. This is my side. This is Saint's side. Let's see who wins at the end.
Let's go.
I got the trick taught to us by Ian.
What? How's he gonna start with a marble? Oh! There we go. Well, that's that's not good news for
We
me.
didn't even get the sleeve.
A Japanese marble. We didn't even get a sleeve or semi-rigid. That's just gonna stay in its own place, I guess.
All right, so we got a foil common and a regular rare. Cannot complain.
No other rares? Oh, it's 2 rares.
Oh, sorry, 2 rares.
Yep. That's crazy! First back marble. This guy's such a luck box, man.
Yeah. I'll take it.
You'll take it. You'll take the W.
Oh, I got another
Foil rare? Okay.
foil or foil rare.
Yep. Chakra, right? Tide chakra, I think it was.
I think playing with the Japanese cards wasn't as difficult as I thought it was gonna be.
Well, now you're familiar with the set. That's easy for you to say now.
Yeah.
Holy crap, that's insane. How do you just have that sick amount of first back magic?
That was a lot of first pack magic.
That was.
Ooh, and we got one majestic.
1M.
Okay, so cannot complain about these 4
Can't
packs.
complain about it. Fire drill, let's go. Swap. We're doing the sleeveless. We're just gonna do this. All right.
What do we got?
We have. Here you go. We have. Okay, Blanche, something, and rare foil.
Yeah, foil wind chakra.
Oh, oops. Rare foil. Not going well.
No
I'm
first
opening
pack magic.
upside down. No first pack magic. Discombobulated. Okay. Up. These are those.
Oh, we got
Oh. Hey! Levels of Enlightenment doesn't beat that, but that's still a pull.
Nice pull.
That's still a hell of a pull. There you go. Wow, Japanese boxes are just fire. Can we get anything else in this box? That'd be sick if we got other stuff
We
in
get
this
like
box.
a legendary.
Yeah, you can still get an L. You still haven't gotten the cold foil yet.
Yeah.
That is
Rainbow M.
crazy. Okay, 2 rares. This is a hiss or slither or
Yeah,
one
hiss.
of the 2. Hiss. Yep. Okay, last pack for me, but my God. Wow, this little segment is just packed with value. That's crazy. What they said about the Japanese print is just insane. Yeah, shout out to one of our FaB fam, Gary. He had opened such a sick box, or such a sick case with multiple marbles. So let's see what happens in this box. We got 2 more each.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yuanji's winning it for now.